Barbie and Oppenheimer, Gerwig vs. Nolan, A Life in Plastic, or a biopic of a figure in history. Who'd have thought that those two polar opposites would come together in order to put cinema back on the map as the summer blockbusters in 2023? Not me. Barbenheimer has become a meme, but it's transcended the humor and creation that was devised online. Both of these movies have come out to great responses and critical and fan success. But who's winning Barbenheimer? Well, I thought I'd take a look at the performance of the movies over the course of the opening weekend and let you know. So let's get into it. Here is Barbie or Oppenheimer winning? This video will be spoiler free, so don't worry. Oh, and if you enjoy the video, then do me a solid and hit subscribe. Thanks. One thing that movies come down to when they have big theatrical releases is what most of the world revolves around and what Mr. Krabs cares about most, and that's money. So let's start by looking at the box office. Well, across its opening weekend, Barbie grossed an impressive $162 million off of around a $145 million budget, so it's already in profit, and Oppenheimer grossed $82 million off of a $100 million budget, so it's safe to say that in terms of box office success, they're proving to already dominate the scene. Barbie has already managed to secure the top spot of the highest grossing opening weekend of 2023, beating the Super Mario movie, which was in second place with $146 million, and Across the Spider-Verse, which was in third place with $120 million, so it's beaten the both of them by quite a bit. When we look at Oppenheimer in terms of the opening weekend, it sat at the 7th highest opening weekend when it comes to what it's grossed. This is ahead of John Wick 4, which grossed $73 million, but behind The Little Mermaid, which grossed $95 million over the course of their opening weekends. For Nolan as well, it's actually his third highest grossing opening weekend ever, beating the likes of Inception and Dunkirk, but falling short just behind The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises. It's said that the both of these movie releases caused a halt on ticket sales for other movies that were out in the cinema over the course of the weekend, such as Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning, so combined they've had a large impact and have pulled in seats to the screens. However, when it comes to the box office, the dollars don't lie, and it's quite clear to see that Barbie definitely wins when it comes to this category, the category of making money. Although one main thing to take away is that their combined effort shows us that people are willing to go out and spend the money on trips to the cinema when the quality is there, and the movies have had a large sum of money put behind them in order to give it the recognition and awareness that it needs. There's not been a moment in the past few weeks or even months where one of these movies hasn't been getting spoken about, so judging by the initial opening weekend, it was well worth the money. But Barbie wins this first round. Ratings and reviews. So for this category, I'm going to look across what I would call the 3 most reliable review sites which cater for critics and your average viewer, and see which comes out on top. So let's start with IMDb. Barbie has pulled in a 7.6 rating on IMDb out of 92,000 ratings, which is a pretty solid score, and Oppenheimer has pulled in an 8.8 from 152,000 reviews, which is something that I would say is incredible for a movie. This shows that on IMDb, Oppenheimer has a significantly better average score from viewers, considering it's also had 60,000 more ratings than Barbie as well. Plus, it's currently ranked number 1 in the top movies in terms of popularity, whereas Barbie is number 2. Now on to Rotten Tomatoes. Barbie has got the critics and audience scores locked in at the exact same, something which I think is quite rare. Barbie has pulled in a 90%, which is a fantastic score, and Oppenheimer has done the same in locking opinions and pulled in a 94%, which is also a great score for a movie. They've both also had a similar amount of ratings as well, so it shows that it's relatively fair in terms of the score. And then finally, when we look at Letterboxd, Barbie has a 4.2, which is a very solid score, and Oppenheimer has a 4.4. So again, it's very close in terms of the ratings that they were both given, as they were both given very respectable scores. However, one thing to note is that Oppenheimer hasn't been rated by as many users on Letterboxd, around 200,000 less, so that rating could well change as time goes on. Oppenheimer did trump Barbie on every rating platform, and the largest difference was on IMDb, where there was an entire 0.2 difference. So I would say that although Barbie has been rated extremely highly amongst many of its viewers, Oppenheimer just seems to have that bit better of a score, allowing Oppenheimer to take this round. I was actually only going to do those two categories as they were the main ones to judge the success by, but seeing as it's locked into a tie at the moment, I'm going to put it to another category, and I'll say talkability and marketing. Whilst Barbie and Oppenheimer had a lot of natural, organic conversation due to the two movies being complete opposites to one another, yet both being released on the exact same day, what could have divided audience members actually brought them together, and instead had people opting into watching both. And it felt like that was done just through word of mouth and the general public. However, when it comes to the actual marketing of the movies, there's one that I think definitely wins, but it was costly. Barbie has quite literally taken over the world at the moment, in terms of billboards, ads, just wherever you look, and it's gone above and beyond in staying present in the viewers' minds. Obviously, it had the soundtrack which had hit songs on by massive artists, but for example, on IMDb, the Barbie logo takes over the cursor, or when you type in Barbie movie onto Google, this animation appears and the whole page turns pink. And even in Dubai, there's this giant 3D billboard that's animated which has the giant Barbie on from the start of the movie. The team most certainly didn't hold back when it came to the marketing of this movie, and I commend it for that, because it's been a huge success on that front. However, apparently a hefty $150 million was spent on the marketing, which doesn't surprise me, as I feel I've only spoken about the very tip of the iceberg in what I just mentioned. Oppenheimer isn't really a movie where you're going to be getting 3D billboards popping out or an album that's got an incredible soundtrack. Well, you do, but it's not full of pop songs that get played on the radio, so it's slightly different. But a lot of what I feel helped Oppenheimer is obviously Nolan's name being associated with it, and it being his brainchild of a movie. All of the usual avenues that get explored when it comes to marketing, but also the Barbenheimer meme as well. I would say that within this category, Barbie most certainly wins. So overall, when looking at the three categories, Barbie is most probably winning the Barbenheimer war. Whilst it's not as easy to just pick out one of these movies and say that one is winning, out of those categories, Barbie is. But the third category is entirely subjective. At their core, both of these movies are so drastically different. Both movies are on opposite ends of the spectrum and offer a completely different experience when going to watch them. They're both winning in their own right, and that's what's great about Barbenheimer. None of them will lose. It's the combined effort of both of these releases that's allowing cinema to win at a time where a lot of what gets released in theaters is just remakes, sequels, or superhero movies. Things that I think people are actually getting a lot of fatigue from and making them stop going. So it's actually so refreshing to see two movies that are drastically different both doing so well, and to also see people enthusiastic about going back to the cinema, something which feels like it's not been felt in a very long time. So in conclusion, Barbie is currently winning in the Barbie vs Oppenheimer fight, but overall, cinema is, and that's the best way for it to be. So, there you have it. Is Barbie or Oppenheimer winning? Which movie did you prefer? Leave a comment down below. And don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next time.